Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I am your host Faisal Raza Khan and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, as we all know, that world is going through fourth industrial revolution of digital economy worth $11.5 trillion globally. Pakistan is also steadily going through to take its own chunk through the $1 trillion information technology economy and market, and Pakistan IT exports are $2.6 billion currently with lots of potential to grow as 60% of the software development chunk. Along with that, Pakistan has this huge potential in information technology is due to the 60% of the youth bulge having at least 300,000 of the IT experts presently, at least 20,000 of the graduates and the engineers belongs to the IT industry producing every year. And Pakistan is very much fortunate to have fourth in the global scenario, particularly global freelance development. Pakistan also has 2,000 of the IT companies along with lots of call centers, and it's growing every year. Now Pakistan announced a very robust and first ever IT export policy with the very ambitious target of $10 billion to attain in next 3 years. A dollar retention facility, more robust Pakistan startup fund, and other strategic decisions, how it is going to evolve, how it attained its targets and objectives, and what else is imperative to achieve this one. To talk on this important topic, we have in our studios Saira Ijaz. She is the senior analyst. Thank you very much for your arrival. And Brigadier Retired Hamid Rashid Malik Saab, thank you very much for being here in studios. And we have also Dr. Wasim Ishaq. He is the international relation expert and he is joining us online. First question that is related to that, start from you, Brigadier Saab. How do you rate Pakistan's first IT export policy and ambitious target of US $10 billion?
If we see about this export policy, we have to see what Pakistan has done in the last 5 years. That it is not only the policy Pakistan is introducing. We had seen that the digital policy which came in 2018, and then the Digital Pakistan Vision which was there in 2019, and then the Pakistan Vision 2025. And now all these are actually the steps which has been taken by the Pakistan government to give boost to the IT industry. And what we see that now with the digital revolution is taking over all segments of society also, as well as different industries also, and it has become a pivot and getting more and more share. Presently share is about 1%, but what we see that SIFC has also categorized IT as the key important segment for not only attracting the foreign direct investment and also having the potential. So with this background, I think this export policy was required, and the government has taken a very wise step to give certain incentives to the IT professionals and to the IT establishment and different companies which have been, we have presently about 19,000 and more IT industries, and as well as the professionals are concerned, about 300,000 IT professionals are present in Pakistan. And if we see that in the international and the global market, the share of Pakistan IT industry is also getting more and more space. There about, if we see the UK market, European market, UK market and the American market, what I have seen and researched that Pakistan share about 3 to 4%, but it is basically coming from the freelance segment. They are giving Pakistan a revenue of $2.67 billion US dollars. It is a quite huge amount, and with the SIFC also setting a target about $20 billion US dollar in next 3 to 5 years and $10 billion in next 3 years. And we have also to see that the Saudi Arabia has shown lot of interest, and they have signed MOU with Pakistan companies and with the Pakistan government, because they see that Pakistan has lot of potential of the IT experts in Pakistan. And what we see that our universities are producing about 20,000 graduates every year. And if we see about the startups, that Pakistani startups who are facing problem of the revenue, and with the certain incentives given in the export policy, I think all the gray areas have been addressed, and Pakistan is going to witness exponential growth in the IT industry.
When this robust IT export policy was announced, one of the very important facility, that is the dollar retention facility, that was also announced. So what it means actually, dollar retention facility, if you elaborate, Saira.
Actually, the ultimate purpose of this strategy, which is a very well conceived activity and a long due as well, but finally it has been launched, that the IT industries should bring their revenue back to the Pakistan's economy, not only their expense. So that's the main vision of this whole strategy.
So what actually was earlier happening, that's why the dollar retention facility came here?
Actually, the IT industries were not providing that environment and that facilitation to the new startups, and which was the main hindrance behind the fast growth of this IT sector. And as Dr. Umar Saif, our current minister, mentioned very rightly in his talk yesterday, that that was the main problem and we need to address that. And we have to facilitate the freelance facilitation program through trainings and skills initiatives.
If you intend to add something into that, that was not that lots of finances was actually parked somewhere else rather than to be in Pakistan, and those were because that to reinvest into any other project, so that that facility was actually not available in Pakistan at that time.
And there are two aspects of it. One is about freelance, as I have highlighted, that the PayPal facility and the transfer of dollars from certain countries to Pakistan was a problem. And PayPal was not coming to Pakistan, so that the freelance. And when we see that IT has two segments. One is the IT industry, which is the hardcore engineers, software developers and all that, and the back-end engineers also, programmers. And the other hand, the IT-enabled services. Okay. And when we come to IT-enabled services, it starts from the bloggers, from the content writers, and the social media influencers also, and TikToker also. So if we see that the internet user of Pakistan is about 88 million, in that context, all that money which was parked outside, and when we come to the companies, that is 20,000 companies, and the big companies like System, TRG, and NetSol, they had a problem when they got certain contract, and for R&D, that money was kept either in UK, Dubai, or in America. And they wanted that the outsourcing of certain engineers to companies abroad. So that was the problem, and the federal minister very, I think, appropriately taken the steps that all that money which is kept there, and only money which was coming to Pakistan was for the operational expenses. So he said that apart from the operational expenses, and also they had to give certain I think data to the bank that this much money they are required for the operation expenses, and all other dollars were kept by the bank as a security, which he said now the banks will release those money to the companies, so that apart from the operation expenses, they can use it for the R&D and for expansion of their companies.
Saira, what do you think about, particularly when we are talking about the IT sector, the tax breaks and incentives, which are very important for this sector to grow and to grow our exports also? How do you see it?
Actually, under this strategy, there will be a synergy between IT Ministry, State Bank, and the Tax and Regulatory Authority, which is a very welcome sign. And as Brigadier Sahab very rightly mentioned, that when these lacunas and these obstacles will be, solved and will be removed, only then this IT sector will be able to give its full potential. And number two, I think it is the now inevitable part of domestic and corporate life when we talk about IT. And it is the digital economy is the new reality of the coming world, or in fact the coming times, or even today's world as well. So I guess moving towards paperless economy, paperless systems, we need to find out the lacunas where we have to facilitate and give proper trainings and initiatives to promote and support the newly startups.
Yeah, definitely, very well elaborated. Dr. Wasim, how do you see, because we have observed over the years that IT industry is mainly working in silos rather than to have a collaborative, cooperative, some sort of approach or linkage in between, because that is very important. Do you think that the government sector, the software associations, along with Chamber of Commerce, the IT industry and the other industry which is working across Pakistan, because it is all linked with each other, so why not there have to be a cluster in between, so that all work together, and if there are some needs, those must have to be addressed.
Thank you, Faisal. This is a very important aspect, but we should not disregard that this IT export policy has been just initiated and we have probably not done anything before. Let me reiterate that in last 20 years, we have done a lot in the IT sector. Initially, our IT policy was issued in year 2000. And thereafter, as Brigadier Hamid highlighted, digital policy, Pakistan's digital policy was then issued in 2018, and later on it's another improvised version in 2019. So basically, these three policies had set the pace for basically IT training, education, and to build a human resource, which could then eventually enable Pakistan to contribute towards its GDP. So last 20 years, we have been extensively involved in development of human resource and development of IT infrastructure. Today, with a lot of satisfaction, we are at a place that we are now talking of IT exports. We have a huge manpower, almost 60% youth bulge, 20,000 graduated every year from the universities. We have 3,000 IT experts, especially of the English. So today, Pakistan has a huge human resource. With the effort of all last 20 years and two policies which I just highlighted, and those policies which have also been actually highlighted from different angles by our two honorable panelists. So we have done a lot. Now it is the time that we outsource our IT expertise. Yes, there were certain challenges because we were initially working in isolation, but today a lot of synchronization is happening. For instance, let me give you an example of academia industry linkages. Today there's a platform at HEC level. Today there's a platform in every university's level. We have IT parks in the major universities of science and technology. We also have IT parks in other social sciences and other mixed universities. So those IT parks have a direct linkages with the industries, and every semester the universities conduct their job fairs. So many industrial companies, they come and then they hire a lot of software engineers and electrical engineers and so many other engineers. So in my perspective, we have a huge trained manpower. We also have a huge resource. We also have a huge infrastructure available. So, and this IT export policy has further tried to plug in those loopholes which were existing, especially on account of the synchronization of effort and one window policy. So as we have seen that we have set the target of $10 billion for coming 3 years, and hopefully that in coming 5 to 8 years, we will double it. I think it is doable, but what is the challenge? Today, the challenge is that there is hardly any IT investment coming into Pakistan. And as this has incentivized through SIFC and through other incentives like the dollarization with the investment companies, so I feel that in coming 3 to 5 years, a lot of investment companies would be coming to Pakistan, and that would generate employment, that would also generate our human resource consumption. So in that aspect, we will be able to export our expertise. However, I would like to highlight that freelancing does not require any special platform or any other special infrastructure, but that just requires a government facilitation. My research indicates that our freelancing faces a lot of challenges, especially on account of getting the projects and when the projects are won on account of payments. So when such issues are also resolved, which I'm very positive that those will be resolved, coming 3 to 5 years is for Pakistan to export its IT in terms of human resource, in terms of knowledge, and in terms of academia industrial linkages.
When we are talking about, it's very important to develop the human resource along with capacity building and real implementation of the freelancer facilitation program. Do you agree with it?
I totally agree, and this is what I highlighted just now, that we need to enhance the capacity of freelancers at the government level. Now, whatever is happening, most of those things are happening at the individual level. So individuals are trying to hunt some freelancing projects. So if we establish certain government authenticated platforms on which, and those authenticated platforms should be recognized internationally, so that most of the challenges which are being faced by freelancers nowadays is that usually the foreign companies or the foreign vendors consider them as a fake. So therefore, these are the challenges of credibility. So if those platforms are provided by the government authenticity and known to the outside world, then probably it will create a lot of jobs for our freelancers, and it will also then, when the government facilitates the payment process, I'm sure in next 1 to 2 years, our freelancing contribution to our GDP would be immediately doubled.
Your point well taken, Saira. If we talk about particularly when academia, the incubation centers, different software houses, research centers and all that, it is not important that we should have to gear up and facilitate them. Along with that, the high-tech technology must have to be introduced in all those institutions, because if we intend to grow our export.
Actually, for that we have to bring lots of awareness, and in this the role of civil society and the IT experts also comes in. Because only alone government projects would not be efficient and would not be able to perform or deliver 100% if we don't include the IT of professionals and the civil society in it, where there should be organization of different seminars, awareness campaigns. Again, the role of media is very crucial. So because now the digital economy, as I mentioned, and the knowledge economy, which is now the backbone of all the developed countries, places the importance of IT sector as its backbone. So I think we need to work on it, role of academia, role of IT companies, IT professionals, civil society and media.
Particularly promoting e-culture in Pakistan, like e-government, e-health and e-justice. So how do you see this aspect?
As already alluded to that, the IT enabled services, what we think that e-governance or e-health or e-education also, the IT enabled services has given us a lot of space in our society. It has revolutionized how we used to live. Like the industrial revolution changed that what was the outlook of the society and what was actually these, there were certain aspects which were considered to take lot of time, but within the industrial revolution those actions and job could be done in minutes and in hours. Similarly, what we see that now every person is carrying a gadget which by itself provides him library also, a trade partner also, and also it gives him lot of opportunity to access to different avenues and industries in the world. So IT will become a pivot on which complete society as well as the industry will revolve and progress. And in that context, what we see that the paper-free environment, as already highlighted by Madam Saira, it is also moving in that direction. There will be smart world. And when we talk of smart world with the knowledge economy, it is going to bring lot of change in the way we behave and we live. And presently also what we see that about 90% aspect and activities of life, we get comfort from the IT enabled services. If we have to check for certain information or about the availability of certain gadgets or information, you can just with the clip of your hand, you can get access to that. And in the modern world, what we see in UK and Europe and also in America, that the services of the healthcare, the services of education during COVID also, the COVID gave an opportunity to the IT industry that it can also go for the distance learning, for the distance meeting. And also what we see in Pakistan also, that especially with the help of IT industries, now we have rationalized our way of working, our way of even government and governance also. So in this way, I think in the future, what we will see that the IT enabled services and IT will take over the world, and our 90% especially what we see in the outlook of the society and outlook of our way of working, the different job and profession will change.
When we are talking about IT exports, it's important that we should look into the issue that whether is there any serious effort to promote cloud computing and big data in the country?
Let me highlight one issue which I think I should carry on from Madam Saira's point regarding the challenges of IT. I think the entire country just has 13 IT parks. And I'm sure most of these are in Islamabad in the major universities. Other than that, there's hardly any facility available. So unless we increase first the number of IT parks, probably the training, on-job training, human resource development, etc., would further be facilitated if you have at least 2 to 3 in every university around the country, where we have about 200 universities in Pakistan. So 13 would just be divided into 16 universities of Islamabad. There may be 1 or 2 in Karachi or the major university like GIK. So we urgently need to do a capacity building in terms of IT software parks. So secondly, the point regarding big data and cloud computing. Again, in the same case, let me highlight that GIK and NUST has a very elaborate system and also in ComSet. About other universities, I have all my doubts. So therefore, while we have a wish, while we have a desire, we don't have a capacity. So we need to build the capacity first, and then we should be able to do it. And I believe few private companies also do have this big data facility within Islamabad. So as a government, now we need to invest more. However, there are many segments of the IT, like we're just talking, as Brigadier Hamid highlighted, about the e-governance, e-agriculture, e-health, etc. We have a huge vacuum over here also. So we need to prioritize first where to move on. I think cloud computing and big data would require a lot of investment. And in my humble opinion, we can pen it for a while, and let's move on to the e-governance, e-health, e-agriculture first. And let me also quote you example, like WeChat in China has changed the entire complexion how people do business in China, because WeChat contains everything. Alibaba and JD are the classic examples of very successful e-commerce. Then agriculture in China also links the industry, agriculture, farmers, as well as the sellers. So there are no third parties in between. So they have used the technology and they have benefited from it. So I think at a priority, we need to invest in these areas first, and maybe subsequently for after about 2 to 3 years, when these things are mature, then we move on to big data and cloud computing, because it requires a huge investment. And as we see our economic condition presently, probably we have to defer it for some time.
When we are talking about specialized innovation centers, particularly to promote fintech, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, or robotics, what you say on that? If we just not mention the names of the companies, but we have to go only for the technology, what actually that Pakistan desires.
This is the need of hour. We have to invest in that. But currently, the infrastructure is almost negligible. And as per my research, all those 4 areas which you highlighted, probably hardly any infrastructure and hardly any usage is available. While China has again successfully done it in all these 4 domains. And as China would be cooperating with us in phase 2 of the CPAC, in which especially the agriculture sector's revival is also part of that. So I think agriculture, which is contributing almost more than 20% of our GDP. So in that context, we need to prioritize this also in phase 2 of CPAC. And as we will be moving towards operationalization of IT export in coming 2 to 3 years, concurrently, we need to capitalize and also invest this IT into agriculture sector as well. So I think it is a need of the hour, and we have to do more. But it has to be then synchronized with the IT export strategy, as well as the CPAC phase 2 strategy.
Brigadier Retired Hamid, when we are talking about exports, it is important that there is another area which is basically the hardware development, and regarding laptops, regarding desktop computers, mobile sets, microchips or microprocessors and all others. How do you see that sector? Because we are always talking about software development and gaming and all other things, but we are not talking about the this important area.
I think this is one of the gray area where the National IT Board as well as our policy and SIFC should look into that. Presently, what they only focused was the software aspect, because presently Pakistan has lot of potential and lot of database as well as the ground realities that we are very good as far as the software is concerned, but as when it comes to hardware, we export it. This is what I am saying, so we export all the hardware. And in that context, Pakistan has taken a very modest start, that now the cell phone with the help of Chinese technologies are being built in Pakistan. And I think with the passage of time, with the Chinese help and technology transfer, Pakistan will be able to have its own brand of the laptop also, or the computer. Actually, what is the proper? It is the microchip and the processor. And when we come and see China also, we see that as far as AI is concerned, as far as the processor is concerned, American, they have the monopoly. And in foreseeable future, I don't see that Pakistan is going to have a very breakthrough as far as the preparation and manufacturing of my processor is concerned. However, Pakistan can go for the joint venture with the American companies, that apart from preparing and manufacturing the software, they also go for the manufacturing of the hardware. But I think for the next 5 years, if we see the export potential and what SIFC also realize, that this is a long-term project which may take more than 10 years. Because what we see that the American or the Europe, they are not very gracious as far as the technology transfer of the high-end product is concerned, and processor is among that. And also one of the aspects that is basically this conflict between China and America for the AI will be one of the hurdle, that when will Pakistan ask for certain technology transfer for the processor manufacturing, it will not be an easy cake which will be provided to Pakistan.
So, Saira, what do you think about that? Artificial intelligence is an evolutionary process. It's still going on. But when we have started, the world is far forward from us. So, how do you see that, how we will match this technology and other technologies as well, and how we are going to compete with the international world in export market?
Again, by implementing such strategies and policies which we had seen yesterday, and by putting our home in order, and by implementing and placing those policies which are startup friendly, which are by giving trainings and initiatives to train our IT, to enhance our IT exports. And the future lies in AI and robotics. And again, the IT sector or the IT is the again the linchpin of all this system.
So, what do you think that whether we have to gear up our foreign missions to have to cap this export market, to bring more investments into the IT sector, so that Pakistan can excel in this sector and to bring on those the growth targets which
environment business friendly policies, and by realizing the fact and by training and by bringing awareness at grassroots level from the very lower level of academia through media, that what is the need of this IT sector, to training our children. And I am not talking about just the bigger cities, I am talking about the entire country.
My question is related to the Pakistan missions abroad, that whether they have to take their responsibility to take more investments from abroad to Pakistan in the IT sector, and also to promote Pakistan's export in those markets.
Yes, again their role is very crucial, but again, if back at home in country we have a platform to provide, only then those missions role will be more effective.
Okay,
that's
if you want to add something.
What Madam Sarah already said, that what we see that with the establishment SIFC and their briefing to the diplomatic missions across the globe, what they only wanted, that the Pakistan market should be showcased for the attracting not only the foreign direct investment also, but for the joint ventures also. And in that case, what I think this is a very good initiative.
That briefing done, or they have to do
that
it?
Briefing has been done about 3 months back, and they have also not only given them briefing, they have also asked them to explore their local markets around the globe, that how joint venture can also be made, and they have also given certain briefing in America to the American businessmen also by our US ambassador, that how these 5 sectors which has been also highlighted by SFC, how we can attract the foreign direct investment. And what we see that about 7 apex meeting of the SIFC has been taken so far, which shows that how Pakistan government and also the army are so focused that all the target which has been set in the SFC should be achieved, and a follow-up mechanism is also put in place.
Here is a very important question arises, that is related to the growing IT industry. If we have set very ambitious target that we want to achieve in 3 years about $10 billion of the exports. So, whether we are focusing upon ownership, the security, the growth of industry, their problems as well, how to resolve them, then data privacy, transparency, and also the protection?
I think only answer to this is the policy framework, because SIFC is providing them the policy framework, and second is the promise which IT industry, because of exponential growth, what we see in the last 5 years, IT industry has witnessed 178% of growth. And they then the graduates which are available to us for freelancing, for outsourcing, as well as for the IT industry companies in Pakistan. And third aspect, I think the export policy which has been announced by our Caretaker Minister, what we see that this is the good example of the right man for the right job. Being technocrat himself, he knew what are the imperatives, what are the determinants, and what are the dynamics of the IT industry's growth in future. And I think if the policies are continued for at least 2 to 3 months, after the election also, the new government, they must know that there are certain ministries which require the technocrats. And by appointing the technocrat to lead that ministry, especially the technical ministries, I think it is the right step, because that technocrat knows in and out of that subject, about that ministry also, what are the challenges and how those challenges to be met. And I think this export policy has not only addressed the problem for the export, but problem for the manufacturer also.
Yeah,
what we see.
It is very important. And Dr. Wasim, when IT industry is growing and we have lots of software houses, incubation centers, research centers and all that, let's, for example, you have a growth of unprecedented growth of the IT industry. Now, the question arises that whether that data is going to be protected and how that data is going to be protected, number one. And second is that whether this patents and the intellectual property rights and all that, because you know that we are in a global world and this is all linked upon online. So there are the threats of cyber security, like cyber attacks or something like that. So how this industry going to be protected cyber in a cyber domain?
Thank you, Faisal. The biggest challenge is that why we'll be growing exponentially, almost doubling and then moving it to 3 times and 4 times in coming 3 to 4 years, it will have certain challenges. And the data privacy is the biggest challenge. And cybersecurity threat is also an alarming challenge. And not only that Pakistan would be suffering these 2 challenges upfront, we have seen the examples, even the cyber threat within China, within United States, within India. So cyber security, data privacy security are 2 important real challenges. It should cater for these 2 important segments. Unless this data privacy is not secured, then probably these ambitious targets of going to $10 billion export in coming 3 years may not be possible and may be a big challenge. So therefore, we are not only, we don't have to focus straight on export, we have to focus and put our house in order in terms of security as well. So these are challenges. The IT export policy has not highlighted those challenges. Those must be considered in the revised digital policy, which should be issued, I think, very soon.
What are the loopholes still existing?
The cyber security, data privacy, and the third party sharing of information. These are 3 biggest challenges.
So, thank you very much. And Brigadier Sir, when we are talking about to attain $10 billion, there is again another benchmark, which is at least 10 to 18 billion dollars of exports till 2028. Whether we are geared up in that sense and we are doing much on that?
I think we are very much geared up, and this export policy is the first step, which is going to move us to that direction. And I think what we need to understand, the promise of IT industry is sky is the limit. What we need to understand is that we harness our youth and we provide them that business friendly environment. And I think what we see that for freelance, they are now providing co-working space to 500,000 freelancers will be established all across the Pakistan. And presently we see the clusters either in Islamabad, Lahore or Karachi. We need to expand these clusters to the other cities of Pakistan also, across complete from Gilgit to Karachi. And second step which we need to also understand, which is also announced by our federal minister, that free interest loans to the startups. And I think third is that the joint ventures, Saudi Arabia has shown also that inclination that they can have joint ventures with Pakistan companies, and one of such MOU has already been signed between the Saudi company and the Pakistani company. And I think in future there will be certain foreign direct investment also and joint venture also from the UAE also, from Qatar, Bahrain, and even China also, because as part of CPEC they would also like that Pakistan industry as well as agriculture is concerned, as well as other industries are concerned, IT should also grow. And when we see China, what we see that there is a conflict between the Europe as well as China, and so Pakistan can mediate with that. And presently also what we see that our IT industries, they have a good footprint in Europe, in UK, America, as well as in Dubai also. And I think this can be enlarged in future.
If you just elaborate that how IT exports are going to be a catalyst for Pakistan's economy, because you know that ultimately it's all about economic development, and Pakistan wants it that its economy should grow. How do you see it?
Trade and development are the the backbone of any economy, and now there is no other second opinion about it, that IT is relevant to each and every sector of life, I would say. So if you want to enhance your trade, it is directly relevant to IT sector. You need to have proper IT teams and IT experts who can manage your businesses while sitting here in your home. And when it comes to as I mentioned, that everything is going towards being electronified. E-agriculture, e-economy, e-education, e-health, everything is getting electronized. And how would it be possible without enhancing our and by enabling a very, very effective and very efficient and rigorous IT sector? It's not possible, and I guess we are moving in the right direction. And the entire, at global level, we have seen there is sluggishness in the entire, global economy. So I think we should be hopeful. And meanwhile, I would also like to add that after COVID, that IT sector is the only sector which flourished a lot.
Very well elaborated. Thank you very much, Saira. Thank you very much, Brigadier Hamid. And we are thankful to Dr. Wasim as well. Thank you very much for joining us in program. Viewers, as you all know that Pakistan has a great potential to grow as an IT hub, and it is no doubt that there are lots of efforts going on, and the first ever IT export policy also unveiled to have very robust and ambitious target of $10 billion. So Pakistan is geared up to have this IT sector grow. It is important that as our panelists also suggested, that IT experts, graduates and engineers must have to be given lots of facilitation to grow within the country. As they grow, as Pakistan's economy grow, obviously Pakistan will grow. This is all from Foresight today, and it's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz.